The Battle of Antietam.
The Union was under the command of General George McClellan. The Confederate Army was under the command of General Robert E. Lee. Union had about 65,000 men compared to the Confederates' 40,000. This battle was an attempt for Lee called the Maryland Campaign, which was the first time the Confederate Army ever set foot on Union soil. The Army of the Potomac, which is the Union, found an order from the Confederate Army which stated Lee's army would be split in half. McClellan took advantage of that and attacked the army before the actual battle a couple of days before. On the morning of September 17, 1862, McClellan decided that it was time to attack. He was nervous going into it because he did not know how many men General Lee had in his army. Lee had bluffed on his army size before September 17th, and that threw the Union off even when they outnumbered the Confederates about 2-1. At 5:30 in the morning, McClellan sent 2 corps into a place called the Cornfield. His objective was to crush the Confederate left flank. General Stonewall Jackson, who was the current Confederate general deployed there, almost lost his position, but then got reinforced by the right flank of the Confederate Army. In about 2 hours, there were 8,000 casualties in and around the Cornfield. Later that morning, when the Union continued to fight in that cornfield, McClellan thought that breaking off one of the corps that was engaged there and send them into the East Woods would be a great way to flank the Confederates and win the battle. As fate would have it, the Union only got so far as to a little church called Dunkirk Church, which they held on to after countless attacks by the rebel army, but they needed to withdraw and retreat. After the smoke cleared, 3,000 lay dead in the East Woods, and about the same as the church. Early in the afternoon, General McClellan realized that Lee's right flank was weak from the attack on the cornfield in East Woods because Stonewall Jackson needed support. So he sent some of his men to attack a small little wagon road that had absolutely no importance at all before the battle, but became the place where the most ferocious fighting ensued in the battle, and most likely the war. The Union managed to outflank the rebel position and claim it as their own, but were immediately pushed back. After that skirmish, 5,600 men were left dead, dying, or captured. This road was then called Bloody Lane for how much bloodshed there was at that little pointless road with absolutely no field advantage. Late in the afternoon, McClellan wanted to stop Lee from escaping and to crush the rebel army once and for all. He sent his army to attack the bridge that crossed Antietam Creek, and the rebels did not have it defended all that much until Lee saw his Union troop movement towards this escape route. Lee then sent artillery and some of his reserve to stop the advance of Union soldiers. This 12-foot wide bridge was crossed by Union soldiers countless times by the corps that were there, but they could not break through due to how well the rebels were keeping them back with cannon fire and small artillery fire. The Union was fed up with getting pushed back, so they sent their division to the bridge and eventually took it, but was then pushed back by reinforcements of General J.E.B. Stuart just in the nick of time to help Lee drive the Union back. The Battle of Antietam was the bloodiest day in American history, more than the Battle of Pearl Harbor, 9/11, and the Battle of Gettysburg that would happen a year later. In total, there were over 23,000 confirmed casualties on both sides. Even when there was no ground gained or lost, the Union won, but McClellan did not follow Lee in retreat. Lincoln later relieved McClellan from his post and then promoted General George Meade as the commanding general of the Army of the Potomac, which he then later proved his worth in the Battle of Gettysburg. Since the Union gained morale from this victory, Abraham Lincoln wrote the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed all slaves and made the war more about freeing the slaves than just trying to preserve the Union. Thank you for listening on the Battle of Antietam.